Strange pizza. Hi, this is Bruce. Today we're going to cook pizza. For pizza, crust is really important. And while I have a good crust recipe, I no longer eat flour. So I'm going to show you 3 other ideas for pizza crust. Since there's only me, I make small pizzas in a small frying pan that I can put safely in the oven. For one pizza, I'll slice ribbons of zucchini into the bottom of the pan and use that as my crust. The pizza I get will have to be eaten with a knife and fork, but I don't mind. First, let's do zucchini. I'll chop off the ends, and then I'll take my peeler and start peeling long ribbons. And you'll see very quickly that I'm not very good with a peeler. But that's okay, we'll get there eventually. Okay, the idea is to have enough peeled zucchini to cover the bottom of the pan, and there it is. That's enough. I stay away from the seeds in the middle. I just want the flesh on the outside. I'll get rid of the extra here. And then go about arranging it a little bit in the frying pan so that there aren't really any holes and it covers the whole bottom of the pan. On top of the zucchini goes mozzarella cheese that I have grated. And I like a lot of cheese. And on this pizza with the zucchini crust, the cheese will melt into the zucchini and make it all a little bit firmer. Then I put pork Italian seasoned sausage on it. I buy this sausage and then cook it so that a lot of the fat is out, and it tastes really good with the Italian seasoning. Then I'll add some pepperoni. It's a little bit spicy and adds a nice bite. One more. 2 more. And some mushrooms. These are baby Bella mushrooms, and they have more flavor than the regular white mushrooms that I used to buy. And now I just buy these, and as you can see, I can buy them washed and sliced already so that they're ready to use. A little bit of salt, some pepper, some oregano. Whoops, I opened the wrong side of the lid and it poured out instead of sprinkled. Oh well, this pizza will taste a lot like oregano. Some basil. Some garlic powder, because I love garlic. Now, I make my own tomato sauce. I use a can of special San Marzano Italian tomatoes, and I crush them up, and then I add some tomato paste, and then I add some seasonings, and I simmer it for about 2 hours so it's nice and thick. Now, I make enough that will fit 2 of the containers, as you see there. So I'll put one in my freezer and I'll leave the other one in the refrigerator so that I can make pizza anytime I want. Finally, we'll put some Parmesan cheese on top. All right, this pizza is ready to bake. We'll set it aside while I make the other one. The other crust uses almond flour. We'll start, though, with 1/4 cup of mozzarella cheese. And I put it in a glass bowl because I want to put that into the microwave for 15 seconds to melt the cheese. And with the magic of editing, my cheese is melted. I can stir that a little bit with a fork. Yep, you can see how it's all nice and melted. And now I'll add 1/2 cup of almond flour. and begin mixing it up. It's a little bit challenging to do it with the cheese, but we do our best. Now to that, I will add 1 egg. And then I'll mix that really well. And by the time it's mixed and I work to get the lumps of flour and the lumps of cheese out of it so that it's well mixed and smooth, it'll be sort of a really sticky dough. That's pretty good. So we'll take another pan, and with this crust, I'll put some oil in the bottom of the pan. And then I'll put the dough into the pan. Then we'll spread it out. The spatula works sort of good for doing this, but sometimes you just have to use your fingers. And in fact, I'm not even happy with my fingers. So we're going to do something else. I take a piece of parchment paper, which is paper that I use often when I'm baking, because things do not stick to it. And I can use a flat surface, in this case, my salt container, and I can just press out the dough into the pan. And with that nice, even, flat surface, it presses it out fairly well. Now I want to press it out so that it comes up the sides of the pan a little bit, so that it's almost a little bit of a bowl shape. Now the dough is so sticky that it's not going to come off until I bake the crust. But we want to bake the crust before we put the toppings on anyway. So I will put that in a 375-degree oven for 12 minutes. The crust is done. Now, when the crust is baked, the parchment paper comes off easily, and you can see that the crust is a little bit browned around the edges, and some of the oil has come up. So it's still nice and moist. And now we'll assemble the pizza. Now, I'm a great fan of the type of pizza that they make in Chicago called deep dish. And for deep dish pizza in Chicago, they start with the Italian sausage and meat on the bottom. Now, I have to be careful because the pan is still really hot. Then, let's see, a little bit of salt. And pepper. And this time we'll be careful with the oregano so that it sprinkles instead of pours. And basil. And garlic powder. We'll put some pepperoni on. And some of our good baby Bella mushrooms. Then we'll put a layer of cheese on. I love mozzarella cheese and I love lots of cheese on pizza, so I put on a lot. But they do that for Chicago pizzas, and Chicago pizzas are the best in the world. Try to get it nice and even. Then a layer of sauce. I like a lot of sauce. And again, on Chicago pizzas, they have a lot of sauce, and it's delicious. And finally, some Parmesan cheese. So this pizza is ready to go. I remembered that it was hot, which was good, and both pizzas are now ready to bake. I've heated the oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit, and I put both pans into the oven, and I will bake them for 15 minutes. Pizzas are done through the magic of editing. There's the zucchini pizza, and there is the almond crust pizza. Now I take a spatula and work around the crust to make sure that the pizza is loose in the pan. I can shake it a little bit and know that it's loose, and then I can easily put it on a plate. Now, the zucchini crust is a little bit harder to get out, so I have to work around the edge with the spatula. And I'll slowly start to work underneath the zucchini to make sure that it's loosened from the bottom of the pan. You can see I'm trying to go a little bit farther and a little bit farther, and at some point it will feel like it's loose, and then I can try to transfer it onto the plate. There, I think that's okay. And it sometimes might be a little bit messy, but I think we're doing okay. Okay, here we go. And that's not too bad. So, almond flour crust, zucchini crust pizza. Now, there's a third pizza crust, and it uses breakfast pork sausage that I keep in my freezer. They're frozen, but they're already cooked. So the first thing we'll do is thaw these two sausage patties in the microwave for about 1.5 minutes. There we go. They're thawed. And we're ready to make little pizzas. I use 2 because that makes a good lunch for me, and in fact I had 2 of them for lunch today before I recorded this sound. Mozzarella cheese. We don't care if we get some on the plate because it's all going to melt anyway, and it's all going to be a little bit messy. Here's our wonderful tomato sauce. And a little bit of basil. And we'll sprinkle some oregano. There we go. That's good. Hooray for me. I didn't slob it like I did the other night. Finally, a little bit of Parmesan on top. So we'll put these back in the microwave for about another 1.5 minutes. Through the magic of editing, they've been in the microwave for 1.5 minutes, and you can see that the cheese has melted, the tomato sauce is hot, the Parmesan is melted a little bit, and they're easy to eat. The meat crust means that I have a sausage pizza, and that's a simple pizza, very quick, and for me, well, maybe it's time for lunch again.